Danish pastries. They are a real treat. Imagine biting into a pastry that is crispy and golden on the outside. Then you taste the soft, slightly sweet dough inside. It's no wonder people all over the world love them. You can find Danish pastries in many shapes and with different fillings. Some are simple, with just a sprinkle of sugar. Others are filled with delicious things like cream cheese, fruit, or chocolate. In this guide, we'll learn how to make these delicious pastries at home. Don't worry, it's easier than you might think. With a bit of patience and these simple steps, you'll be enjoying your very own homemade Danish pastries in no time. Let's get baking! Before we begin, let's gather our ingredients. You'll need a few basic things for the dough, the butter layer, the filling, and the glaze. Don't worry, most of these ingredients are probably already in your kitchen. For the dough, 2 1/4 teaspoons active dry yeast, which is 1 packet. 1/4 cup warm water between 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit. 1 cup whole milk, warmed. 1/4 cup granulated sugar. 1 large egg, lightly beaten. 1 teaspoon salt. 3 1/2 cups all-purpose flour, plus more for dusting. For the butter layer, 1 cup or 2 sticks of unsalted butter, very cold. 1/4 cup all-purpose flour. For the filling, which is optional, 1/2 cup fruit preserves, such as raspberry or apricot. 1/2 cup sweetened cream cheese. 1/2 cup chocolate spread. For the glaze, 1 cup powdered sugar. 2 to 3 tablespoons milk or water. First, we'll make the dough. This is the base of our Danish pastry, so it needs to be soft and elastic. 1. Activate the yeast. In a large bowl, dissolve the yeast in warm water. Let it sit for about 5 minutes until it becomes foamy. 2. Combine wet ingredients. Add the warm milk, sugar, egg, and salt to the yeast mixture. Stir well to combine. 3. Add the flour. Gradually add the flour, 1 cup at a time, mixing until the dough comes together. 4. Knead the dough. Turn the dough out onto a lightly floured surface and knead for 5 to 7 minutes, or until it becomes smooth and elastic. Now, shape the dough into a ball and place it in a lightly greased bowl. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap and let the dough rise in a warm place for about 1 hour, or until it has doubled in size. While the dough is rising, let's prepare the butter layer. This is what gives Danish pastries their wonderful flaky texture. 1. Prepare the butter. In a medium bowl, combine the cold butter and flour using a pastry blender or 2 forks. You want to create a smooth, spreadable paste. 2. Shape the butter. Transfer the butter mixture onto a piece of parchment paper. Shape it into a 6-inch square. 3. Chill the butter. Place the parchment paper with the butter square on a baking sheet. Refrigerate for at least 30 minutes, or until the butter is firm. Remember, the butter needs to be very cold for the lamination process. This will create those beautiful, distinct layers in your Danish pastry. The art of lamination, creating delicate layers. Now comes the fun part, laminating the dough. This technique creates those light and airy layers that Danish pastries are known for. First, roll out the dough, punch down the risen dough and place it on a lightly floured surface. Roll it out into a 12-inch square. Next, place the butter. Place the chilled butter square diagonally on top of the dough square. Then, encase the butter. Fold the corners of the dough over the butter, sealing it completely. Pinch the edges to secure. For the first turn, roll out the dough into a rectangle, approximately 18 by 12 inches. Fold the dough into thirds, like a letter. This is your first turn. Now chill and repeat for turns 2 through 4. Rotate the dough 90 degrees, roll it out again into a rectangle, and fold it into thirds. Repeat this process for a total of 4 turns, chilling the dough for 30 minutes in the refrigerator after each turn. Lamination takes time and patience, but it's worth it. Each fold creates hundreds of thin layers of dough and butter, resulting in airy and flaky pastries. Shaping your masterpieces, from classic shapes to creative twists. After the final chill, it's time to shape our pastries. You can keep it classic or get creative. First, roll out the dough. On a lightly floured surface, roll out the laminated dough into a large rectangle, about 1/4 inch thick. Next, cut the dough. You can cut the dough into squares for classic Danish pastries or use cookie cutters for fun shapes. Then, add fillings. Place a dollop of your chosen filling in the center of each pastry. Popular choices are fruit preserves, cream cheese, or chocolate spread. Now, shape the pastries. For classic pastries, make 2 cuts from the corners towards the filling, then fold over alternating corners to create a windmill shape. You can find many other shaping techniques online or in baking books. Get creative with your shapes and fillings. You can make twists, braids, spirals, or even heart-shaped pastries. The possibilities are endless. The final flourish, proofing and baking to golden perfection. Our pastries are almost ready for the oven. But first, they need a little more time to rise. First, prepare for baking. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. Line a baking sheet with parchment paper. Next, proof the pastries. Arrange the shaped pastries on the prepared baking sheet. Leave some space between them, as they will expand during baking. Cover them loosely with plastic wrap and let them rise for about 30 minutes or until they look puffy. Then, bake to perfection. Bake the pastries for 15 to 20 minutes or until they are golden brown and cooked through. Keep a close eye on them as oven temperatures can vary. The aroma of freshly baked pastries filling your kitchen is simply irresistible. Once baked, let them cool slightly on the baking sheet before glazing. A sweet embrace, glazing your Danish pastries. The final touch for our Danish pastries is a simple glaze. It adds a touch of sweetness and makes them even more tempting. First, prepare the glaze. In a small bowl, whisk together the powdered sugar and milk or water until you achieve a smooth, pourable consistency. You can adjust the thickness by adding more liquid, a teaspoon at a time. Next, glaze the pastries. While the pastries are still slightly warm, drizzle the glaze over them using a spoon or a piping bag. You can also get creative with the glaze. Add a teaspoon of vanilla extract for flavor, or use fruit juice instead of milk for a colorful twist. Serving your delights tips for the perfect presentation. Congratulations, you've baked beautiful flaky Danish pastries. Now it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Serve warm. Danish pastries are best enjoyed slightly warm. You can reheat them gently in a preheated oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 150 degrees Celsius for a few minutes if needed. Pair with beverages. A cup of coffee, tea, or a glass of cold milk perfectly complements the rich flavors of Danish pastries. Share and enjoy. These pastries are best shared with friends and family. The smiles on their faces will be the sweetest reward for your baking efforts. Remember, practice makes perfect. Don't be discouraged if your first attempt isn't perfect. Baking is a journey, and each time you bake, you learn and improve your skills. Troubleshooting tips: conquering common Danish pastry dilemmas. Even experienced bakers encounter challenges. Here are some tips to troubleshoot common issues when making Danish pastries. Dough not rising. Make sure your yeast is fresh and active. Check the temperature of your water and milk. It should be lukewarm, not too hot or too cold. Tough dough. Avoid over-kneading the dough as this can develop too much gluten and make the pastries tough. Butter leaking. Ensure your butter is very cold and your dough has been chilled sufficiently between turns. This prevents the butter from melting and oozing out during baking. Pastries not flaky. Make sure to follow the lamination steps carefully and don't skip the chilling times. The layers of butter and dough need to be distinct for optimal flakiness. Don't be afraid to experiment and adjust the recipe to your liking. Baking is all about having fun and enjoying the process. Conclusion: the joy of homemade Danish pastries. Making Danish pastries at home might seem like a challenging feat, but with patience and practice, it's an achievable delight. The process, from activating the yeast to witnessing the golden layers emerge from the oven, is a rewarding experience. There's a unique satisfaction in serving homemade treats, especially ones as impressive and delicious as Danish pastries. So, gather your ingredients, embrace the journey, and savor the joy of creating these bakery-worthy treats in your own kitchen. Happy baking!